come in, we ask them if they are already registered, because most of them are members of this church and they're registered. And so then we will give them this so they can record their blood pressures and take it home with them. And it also gives them the parameters so we can discuss norms with them. If they are not registered, then we register them. And if they haven't been screened by the San Diego Black Nurses Association before, then we'll have them do this consent. Then they go in there and they have their screening done, and then they come back.
They log in with their password, and then we'll take their blood pressure and it'll record and it'll drop it to an online profile for them that they can look at through their phone and kind of see the trend and track. And then that'll go to their doctor, they can share it with them and adjust the medications as needed. If they don't have it, then we can actually register them in.
This work is the epitome of what I think of as nationally supported, locally led effort. What we did is we took resources that had been generously provided by Kaiser Permanente and looked for ways and sought out community leaders and stakeholders who would work hand in hand with us to shape those resources to make them most meaningful for the community.
And when I started my work at Grady, I noticed that a lot of the African American population had tremendous high blood pressure and a lot of complications that were not addressed. So I felt compelled to do something about that, being a family physician.
So we had tons of wonderful patients that we were serving. They came in for a blood pressure check, and we just found that to the best of our ability, we were giving patients the medication that they needed, but we were not getting good outcomes. So their blood pressures they would come back for a follow-up visit, and their blood pressures were still high. And we were concerned about this. We didn't want to keep having to add on several medications. I mean, this is a world of polypharmacy and several side effects. And so we figured that we needed to tackle this real issue and find a better way to get better control.
Implementing C2C2, we implemented Target BP throughout our whole health system. So everybody is aware of blood pressure and how important that is. We check the blood pressure according to the American Heart Association guidelines. We make sure that all nurses are trained on that. If the blood pressure is elevated, we repeat it with an automated blood pressure cuff 3 times within 5 minutes. And then we act on that. So if the blood pressure is elevated, we'll educate patients, we'll refer them as appropriate, and we will provide them, or at least prescribe them medication, and bring them back within 2 to 4 weeks to see if everything is good. And we actually just received another grant to focus mostly on African American males that are uncontrolled. Say that our clinic had the highest blood pressure control last year in the Grady Health System of 68%.
Clinic has also learned to better communicate with their patient population and to listen to them, really creating an environment where patients feel very comfortable asking questions about medication or systolic and diastolic, what does it mean, and what are the triggers, etc.
Well, C2C2 actually was able to provide the AOBP machines that we provided to the clinics. That takes 3 blood pressures and then gives you an average, which gives you a more accurate reading. Being able to work with them in the clinics in group sessions and let them see that there's other people that are struggling with the same thing and that they're able to bond and bond with me and bond with the staff.
One of the biggest wins was really them being their own advocate, getting these free blood pressure cuffs, having those diary cards that came from the American Heart Association.
So the C2C2 project has allowed me to provide these clinics with additional resources, allowed me to really connect with the clinics that we worked on this project. For an example, there's 2 clinics that are right down the street from one another who have never worked together. And one thing I can say in one particular clinic that we worked with, the YMCA had built a fitness center within that facility. Also are building a structure, a physical structure right next door to it, you know, and it was birthed out of this C2C2 project.
I love people, and my responsibility, again, goes beyond their spiritual fitness. You know, I too want to do everything that we can, you know, to not only give folks an awareness, but to assist them in doing things that will assist them getting better and doing better, you know, physically as well as spiritually.
So this room is a dedicated room that the church has set aside for blood pressures for their congregation members. So the congregation members at any time can come in here. There's self-monitoring blood pressure machines. There's a blood pressure kiosk. There's information about what their blood pressure numbers mean. So they have this accessible to them at any time for them to come in and get their blood pressure readings.
So one of the things that we heard in the community was not a lot of access to where they could go get their blood pressure checks in between doctor's visits or in between clinic visits. So the value of this is bringing blood pressure checks and education and awareness, volunteer nurses, directly to where people automatically are going every day.
Well, one of the things that I would like to just share with everyone at large, if you're going to come into our community, please have a plan that involves us. And then involving us, do it. Just let us do what we do. Don't judge us, come in, say this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do this together, and then let's just simply do it together and share. I appreciate the persons that were chosen by the American Heart Association to lead this effort, because they chose people who were genuinely concerned, who had a genuine commitment, and we could see that not only in the fact that you showed up, it's the fact that you showed up and you cared, and you kept caring. And I think more than anything else, that's what, at least for me, that's what drove my increased participation in the effort. They have to develop trust. And as I said, it took a while for that to happen. And here, once the trust was seen, people like yourself were coming and showing up. The black nurses was very instrumental in that, because, you know, we've had a health program going for about 10, 15 years, but when the black nurses started showing up, encouraging people to have their blood pressure checked, then people began to say, oh, you know, they're really serious about this. Prior to this partnership, people were really reluctant to go to the doctor. And when they did go to the doctor prescribed medication. Well, they would take it until they started feeling better, and they'd stop taking it. And then they'd have to start the process all over again. But going to the doctor, even talking about what the doctors have prescribed, and we can encourage each other and challenge each other. Are you taking your meds? What meds are you taking? Have you got your prescription refilled? Oh, I feel better. No, just because you feel better does not mean you need to stop taking your medication. And so that has really been, I think, one of the greatest outcomes and results of this project. People are healthier, they're more concerned about keeping their blood pressure down, and stress. The system puts stress on us just being who we are, and so things are going to cause our health to suffer. But partnerships like this now help us deal more with stress.
This community of brown and low income, and even moderate income, the opportunity and the access to health care can be challenging, and whether it's time to get to the doctor because you have to work and juggle school and children's, or if it's income, or if you have to make that horrible decision and choose between health care and food for your kids, for instance.
Really also, it's been interesting really to see the evolution of the evolvement, if you will, of the relationship, because we have conducted with various partnerships and a lot of studies, but they all just go away because there was no really convincing interest. It was, folks just want to collect data, but the staff and the partnership and the relationships that we have created with Be There and American Heart Association have been very strong relationship as a result of the folks that we have partnered with, showing that there was a genuine concern. They were looking way beyond just collecting data. You know, they had a major interest in folks improving their health and being more health conscious. And again, you know, that's not just shown by words, but the things that are done.
So again, we started with a faith-based community, which was very successful. And then we came to the Jackie Robinson YMCA, but we've also expanded to 2 apartment complexes in Southeast San Diego where we offer blood pressure checks. We're at multiple senior centers now in Southeast San Diego, and we also go to a gospel-sized fitness class. So where folks are automatically going to get their exercise, we're there offering blood pressure checks once a month.
You know, those actions, you know, have really strengthened our relationship to the point it shows that we have the same common objective, to get folks not only conscious, but doing things that will, again, not only extend their life, but extend the quality of their life as well.
This funding allowed us to reach out to a community truly in need of looking at their blood pressure. To be able to reach this community in a way that we never had before, and to work alongside them and to help them guide us in terms of what was important to them and what will work best to reach the audience about high blood pressure and help people control their blood pressure so they could be healthier, feel better, and avoid all sorts of disease downstream. I think one of the things the American Heart Association, and certainly the American Heart Association here in the West, took away from this is it takes some time and it takes a lot of relationship building to get where we need to be to make a difference in people's lives. And we need to invest up front in that time, and we can't be driven by internal goals and even funding goals, funders' goals. We are an efficient organization. We like to deliver, you know, quickly, but this is community work. It cannot be done quickly. We need to find our partners and help them build trust with us and with them, and for them to find their partners, to expand out, and all of that takes time. It cannot be rushed.
When we started this effort, we recognized at the core of our beliefs is that we were adding to what already was happening in community, that this was not a starting point, that we were joining strong momentum that already existed in both Atlanta and San Diego. And so what I'm most proud of is that this isn't a project that started and ended, because at the heart of this project is the relationships that have been built. And while the funding proper is drawing to a close and the project proper is drawing to a close, that those relationships and the desire to continue to work together in the community is more vibrant than it has ever been. And when I listen to the teams and the community members in Atlanta and San Diego, and I hear the passion in their voices, and I hear their continued desire to continue to address blood pressure in their communities, and then their desire to take on other issues such as hunger and mental health, and they see all of those issues woven together, there is no sense of closure in the community's mind. They are off and running, and I think that is the legacy of this work. No matter what the health issue is that is being addressed, this is the way that we need to work in community.